what we've really come to understand is it's the hand action that actually drives.
If you have good hands, you know what to do with your hands. So much works back into the body, and the golfer they're empowered when they know how to use their hands properly.
I love it. Beautiful swing. You've always had a beautiful swing. Excellent swing.
Yeah. At 71 years young, that swing speed is 93 miles an hour.
That's pretty commendable, my friend. Way to go. When
I was 50, I was swinging at 109.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome.
But the thing is, my body's still totally no injury, and basically being able to play for a long time is the name of the game, I think, and to have fun at whatever age or stage you're at.
Oh, 100%. And I think that a lot of people, I mean, it's the feeling of really squashing a golf ball out the middle of the face. That's fun for a lot of people. And I think today's episode, like really how to go A to B and how to, get that sweet spot on the back of the ball using your physicality is, a beautiful feeling. And I think the goal of us delivering that message to you today in a short period of time.
Exactly. So good golf's easy, bad golf's difficult, okay? But it's also easy on the body and should be less stressful on the mind. So that's why when we came up with this concept of just being able to throw the club head directly at the ball A to B, it made a lot less thinking, and a lot more effective. It did a lot of good things and hit the ball longer and straighter. So that's why we decided to introduce it to the world.
Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. You've been teaching. I've been doing it now 36 years. It's crazy. You've been at it, as a player and as a teacher longer than me. And, it's fascinating all the folks we see who do, instead of, A to B, the sensation of getting the club powerfully thrown to the golf ball and letting the body respond, and generally for the most part, a very healthy manner. Like you, I've never had a golf-related injury. Golf has never sidelined me at all. Other sports, I've been sidelined from injury, but never from golf. And that's, I don't know how many million golf balls hit in my lifetime now, a lot. So I'm pretty lucky there. Nice. And then meeting you years ago and understanding some of the things that, I hate to knock my old coach because I love my old coach, and he brought me into the game and taught me a lot of great things. And I think that, in great coaching, I think of George Knudson, I think of you, I think of others that have inspired me a lot, that I don't like to say I like to say that it's gifted to me, these ideas that help me become a better teacher. Like I was gifted a lot of George Knudson's great stuff. And spending time with you, I was gifted a lot of your hard work to share with me to help my players get better. So I'm really appreciative.
Well, let's share the ideas with our audience here tonight, wherever they are in the world. But basically, I think the interesting thing is, for me, once we uncovered this simplicity of making golf a little more direct, going A to B. Once we just decided to now share it with, my whole goal was to share it with other golf coaches so they could share it with their students. And that's where it started here in Australia. But once I got around the world and got to America, it was super to meet you and guys like Lee Dietrich, Matt Flanagan, Tom Zadzinski, all these gentlemen on the West Coast or in the western side of the US. And then we flowed across to the other side. But I had a great experience with Paul Runyon. Before we discovered this A to B idea, I really got into Paul Runyon's short game and visited him in Denver. Anyway, I traveled with him to a tournament that he was playing. It was the Legends tournament down in Barton Creek in Texas.
I know
where
it.
You partnered up. Well, when I got down there, I was in the locker room with him, and just right next to him was sitting Arnold Palmer. So there was one of my heroes. I'd seen him in Australia, watched him when I played in Europe. And anyway, he was there, and he said, "What are you doing here?" He says, and I said, "Look, I've got this new idea. Would you be interested in having a look at it?" He said, "Certainly." He was so open. I said, "Well, I don't want to interfere with your golf game. If there's a time during the week when you're playing that I see that it could be of help, I'll come out." And anyway, after the first round, he played not so well. He was partnering up with Tom Wargo. And Tom Wargo came over to me and said, "Peter," he says, "you better give him that lesson now. He needs it."
That's excellent.
Anyway, I think Chris has got a little video of part of that lesson. I don't know if you could share it with us, Chris. It was just the first bit of the first lesson.
Angle of where that tee is throwing out.
Yeah, 4 lengths of swing. See, if you only swing back to here, the direction of hit is not hit through the ball, which should only be here. But when it's up here, the direction of hit is a lot more intense out there. It's just A to B. Wherever the club hit is, you just throw it from there to the ball. Just take one straight line. It won't go in a straight line this way, but it will down the line. Wow. There's another 20 yards. See if I can get close to me about playing golf.
All right. Very good. Thank you. About working.
That was great.
He gained over 20 yards with his driver in that first lesson. He came back after the second round, and Tom Wargo said, "You better give him the second lesson and find another bit." But it was exciting to actually see someone as fantastic as Arnold Palmer, one, willing to take a lesson, and two, actually the result he got. Just what he said to me, he said, "Peter," he said, "this is what my dad was trying to get me to do all those years back." He said, "Just to hit the bloody ball, you know." Excuse, that's Australian for hitting it hard.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. No, completely. You know, I think of, I know we talked about this briefly on the phone the other day. I know we don't have an example of a swing available, but the swing that I love to watch right now that's really reminiscent to me of somebody that is A to B beautifully is Matthew Wolff. Now, his backswing might be a little bit interesting, but the freedom he moves the golf club to the golf ball is so nice to watch. And when he hits it, it's like a baseball glove going right smack dab into a catcher's mitt. It's a thwap sound. It's so crisp. It's fantastic. And it's, you know, the backswing might get somebody to, you know, that might be a little bit of an interesting look the way he develops it. But his A to B motion from this top of his developed backswing onto the back of the ball is just absolutely spectacular.
Exactly. Yeah. He actually uses the principle of a back swing. So he gets everything moving and he slings it back. And because he swings it a little extreme on the outside, it helps put the club over here. It swings naturally to here. And then it's so, as you said, he's got such fantastic hands the other day. His educated hands allow him to be very, very positive with that downswing. So if he swings a little bit out here, it's the downswing. You can be a little bit funky with the backswing, but once you get that backswing kind of set at the top, it's that direction of throw towards the ball that really makes it for all of us a lot easier to make good contact.
You know, let me ask you a question, Peter. I mean, people are going to watch this and they're going to say, you know, Martin or Peter, you're teaching us to cast the golf club. You know, we're throwing it away, so to speak, because I know a lot of the viewers watching this think that, you know, the word throwaway or cast is the worst thing you can do. But yet those are the people that actually have throw away and cast because they don't know how to go A to B. So why don't you take us down this road, Peter, like you taught me so many years ago?
Right. Well, a bicycle flag's a good place to start. It's nice and whippy, and I put a couple of stakes on here and wrap them there with insulating tape. So I've got a grip. And the idea is, it's interesting. The harder I try to get rid of the ball on the end of this flag here, as long as I'm throwing it in what I call the A to B direction, if I keep going, then I get lag. If I stop, then I get throwaway. Or if I throw it in the wrong path, if I throw it outside the line, I'll get throwaway. I'll demonstrate it. Now this is going at it, what I call in the correct A to B. Now if I do it slowly, there's not much flex in the shaft. But now I add speed. If I throw it with a little bit of speed, and if you slow that down, the more I throw the club head end in the direction of the ball, which is across court. See, golf is a two-target game. While the ball is going that direction, the club head, to make the ball go in that direction, must be going down this way. So golf's, it's kind of, you've got to have a leap of faith that when you throw that way, that there'll be a natural squaring. So if I throw it really across court, the more I throw across court, the more I throw across to the out towards the ball, the more these angles will appear. The only time they will be less angled is when I swing it slower, which you want with a lob shot. If I look at it,
completely agree. And you know, as for the viewers watching this, you know, looking at this hula hoop as an inclined circle right here, you know, Peter's reference of taking the club A to B, this obviously the club head travels in a much bigger hula hoop, but it's a down and out direction with intent of the club head getting onto the golf ball. And that's really, you know, he'll carry on here, but the nuance of this is that, you know, we're taking the club head in with intent and energy, delivering it to the golf ball. The more you do that, the more lag you get and the more whip you get where you want it.
Exactly. I was just going to show it from this angle here. If I throw in the correct direction, as long as I don't hit anything in the backswing here. So when I throw A to B, I will get the lag and I'll get the right path, the downswing. And you'll see I'm not trying to make this, the weight of the club will tend to make it go this way and go inside out. Now, if I swing it, if my intention is to throw the club head down the target line, which is a kind of a natural thought for someone beginning golf, they want to go down the line, then you get what we call throwaway. So that's what you want to avoid. You don't avoid throwaway by trying to pull it down. You avoid throwaway by getting the direction of the throw with educated hands to be this way. And so we're going to talk about a little bit here later on as one of the drills, but I think I'll hand back to you, Martin, to add a little bit to that if you.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, you know, getting set up over a golf ball, you know, if you've watched the other webinars, the sense of creating a back sling to get the golf club into an effective place to go A to B, the two-target game. The club heads targets the ball, the ball's targets the fairway or the pin. The sensation isn't to go to the target line. That's something that a lot of people get in trouble with, and the response is something quite awkward to get onto the golf ball, and it's not reliable. The sensation is developing this backswing, and in the previous webinars, you've seen me take great care in how you put your hands on the club and how you develop this back sling swing motion to take this club, and with use of strong hands and letting the body respond, you get that desired result of the unwinding, the pelvis opening, all the elements of the inside out strike, or that it doesn't even have to be inside out. It can be just an effective path back to the golf ball. And the harder you do it, the more the shaft responds and the more your body responds.
Beautiful. Exactly. Now, I have a clicker device here called a swing caddy,
Sure.
And it really highlights where you get power, because a lot of people say, well, when you throw the club head, you're only using your hands. How much don't you get your power from your body? Because a lot of talks about ground forces and everything. So when you actually make it as simple as throw the club head at the ball, imagine this is the club head. The better I throw, you'll hear the click. And that click will be right where the golf ball is. That's where you want your maximum speed. Now, if I throw it the wrong way, I lose power. Plus, if I do make contact, it doesn't go straight. So the direction of throw really helps increase that power. So if the ball's there, if I throw what I call the A to B line, which is in line with that left arm, that's the simplicity of it, not out of line with the lead arm. If I throw in that direction, it's an effortless click.
Absolutely. Now, people at home are going to think like, Martin, Peter, you're oversimplifying these things. But so many good things happen when you put your will into the golf club and you get the golf club, and I'll use the word flee. When we can get the golf club fleeing away from us a little bit, that event in itself, you look at this when I do it slowly, it's something that you can see. But when I energize this with a lot of speed, that's not what you see. And down at the golf ball, other magic happens. So Peter, why don't you talk about how the club, works in line, and then what happens as, as a byproduct of that behavior that helps us square it, so that the viewers at home aren't afraid that if all they do is uncock the golf club really hard, they feel like the face won't square. We know that's not the case. So let's walk them through that a little bit so they can feel like they can go A to B freely, robustly, and hit great shots that start on a nice line.
Okay, well, I take out my tennis racket to highlight the club face, which now when you're swinging in that correct direction, which is throwing the club head with your hands A to B, what you said was that the body and the arms respond to that hand action, and you don't have to worry about your right elbow tucking in. If you go in this direction, your elbow's in a nice position. And as you throw down, as the right arm straightens, the left hand naturally wants to square the club face, you see. I don't have to try to do anything. I just have to go to the bottom of the swing. As long as I reach bottom and bottom out, Paul Runyon said to me when I first visited him, he said, Peter, he said, don't steer the ball. He said, centrifugal force will square the club face more precisely than you can ever steer it. And I trusted him because he was a great teacher. But until I got this idea of A to B throwing and looked at what happened, you can see that naturally, I don't have to do anything. I'm not trying to square the club face. That'd be too much steering. But just the direction of throw promotes a square club face through the bottom. It will naturally, on the follow through side, as I come in here, I'm here, but as I follow through, it will come over. You're not trying to steer it down the line, unless you want to slice it, of course.
Right. Now, we use the word naturally, we use the word centrifugal force. I think that those are easy words to throw in there, but, and certainly not going to knock Paul Runyon because he's a beautiful coach, but the motion that you're creating with your students by setting them up with a very nice grip, developing their backswing and teaching them this motion, this force. Like, I've got this is a practice putting ball of some kind that I've got. It's kind of heavy. It's like an Indian rubber ball. The harder I throw it, the more my arm wants to whip. I'm not trying to whip my arm back. It's just a function of I've got a weight in my hand and I'm going to send it that way toward that camera as fast as I can. And the more I do that, the more my arm whips. I'm not trying to whip it, so it's the weight of this makes us respond certain ways. So the word centrifugal force, those kind of things. I think that you have helped golfers build really nice grips because I've coached with you in the past, and you're a stickler for grip like I am. You're a stickler for getting the people into what I'd say is sort of an orthodox top of backswing position that's beautiful. Now, we know Matthew Wolff and others take certain little latitude there, but the bottom line, when really good players know how to take the weight of the club or the weight of really good baseball throwers or whatever you call them, who throws a cricket ball and the pitcher in cricket, I guess. That behavior, when people know how to get their hands on, get the weight of this in the right place, and athletically use that behavior, a lot of nice things happen. And whether it's centrifugal or reaction or the fact you've built this up prior to actually the motion, that's why you're getting the results. That's why the face is squaring. That's why there's power. That's why it's reliable.
Yeah, definitely. Good grip, good stance, good training of your body pivot. It all helps your hands do the correct job. But ultimately, if you just give the authority over to your hands to throw this club head. Now, you might like to get it up here just to get an initial feel of the direction and how the club works, the shaft works in line with the left arm. That's all we're doing from wherever the backswing is throwing the club head so this shaft goes in line, not out of line. And that's as you go a little bit further down here, got a bit of a reference point. If I can learn just to slowly do this, and this is a little drill that really helps me help my students get on the A to B path. I get them in a position A, this is the top of the backswing. That's as high as the club goes. It might go further back to the end, but it's from the top of the backswing that the A to B really takes its direction. And as it comes down, if I do it slowly, I leave my body turned away, just learning to educate my hand to do this. Not this, and definitely not pulling, just releasing, letting it go. Nice and slow. It goes in line about here when you do it slow. Put my right hand on, learn to do that. So they're both working as a team. And then if I do that 1 slowly, 2 slowly, and then on 3, throw it. It quite easily, you see the blur of the club coming from that inside path down to the ball and back.
You know, years ago you said to me the expression, rather than uncocking over, uncocking under. So let's walk, once you walk everybody through the sensation of what it's, you know, paraphrasing what you just said, I just like the sensation that so many golfers would take the club back here and then the sense would be this way, rather than a motion where the club was uncocking under as they rotate and delivering the club in such a more effective path to the golf ball for great impact.
Okay, well, when we're talking about under, we're talking about the club head going under the forearm, not over the forearm. You see, this is what we call over the top or throw away, and definitely not a good move. When the club head comes under this right forearm, a lot of magic happens. It makes the right elbow and the right shoulder respond correctly. It's not react, it's responding to this hand throw. And in turn, it makes the left shoulder go up. At the same time, while you're just doing this little action with both hands now, you're getting the left side, left hip, left leg really just naturally gets out of the road. The slower I do it, the body responds slowly. But now as I add speed, the faster I throw, the faster the hip goes. It's crazy, but that's simple. If I do it correctly here with this movement, then my hips, the faster I throw, I'm not trying to turn my hip, and it doesn't hurt the back doing it this way. It's a lot less stress on the body. 1, 2, 3.
Lovely.
And it's so it's actually it's good therapy for your back.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Like, knock wood, I don't anticipate. I haven't had an injury in golf, you know, in my entire life of playing the game. And whether that's, you know, good fortune or physicality, I don't know. But, you know, I do know that the golfers that struggle certainly don't know how to really get the weight of the club working in a position to work in harmony with their body. Rather, they fight it. There's an awful lot of this behavior where golfers are pulling down the club really hard. The mass of the club doesn't get away from them so that they can rotate and use that, you know, just the instinct of being an athlete to get the club on the ball. I mean, when you watch great players, and Arnold Palmer was a beauty, you know, he would always say, swing your swing. Well, you know, sure, there are things as coaches we like to fix. Some things are out of whack. But in Arnold Palmer, he was a strong guy. He had a beautiful grip. He took the weight of the club. He swung it. He put it intently on the back of the golf ball. And it didn't stop at the golf ball. The momentum carried him to a beautiful finish. So he went through a golf ball. But, you know, people have to understand, take responsibility for these things. Train them nicely. Once you train them, you know, it's really easy to go back and visit them for a brief period of time just to kind of make sure that you know exactly what to do with the weight of the club in your hands. It's the only way you can impose your will on this thing is by understanding your hands. In this little seminar here, this little webinar rather, how to go A to B, you know, getting your hands nicely on the club and getting it on the back of the ball. You know, I want to go A to B and smash a driver 300 yards. I'm going to develop my backswing. I'm going to hit this golf ball with quite a bit of intent to do that. You know, and that's a pretty good tee ball there. Maybe a fraction right of center line, but, you know, that's a ball that's carrying, you know, quite a bit out there. 266 reasonable, and total of, you know, 293. Not too shabby for standing around here talking with you for a little while.
Yeah, the nice thing is it's repeatable. It's people want to be more consistent. If you have less unnecessary thoughts and you can train, it's a lot to do with the drills. If you if you train this in with a very simple drill like this one, it's not long before you get rid of any over the top or any pulling action. You really start to get the release in the right direction. So once you can get your hands doing it, then it's very nice to be able to go a little bit more speed. What you said there, when you go a little bit faster, the body responds as it should.
You know, I'll ask students all the time. I'll say, you know, I'm going to hit a shot. What do you see? And they'll say, well, I see a nice shot. I see a nice swing. I say, thank you. You know, but they don't know what I feel. They don't know my intent. And so this webinar is just to kind of express intent so people understand some structure and some forces that aren't visible. You can't see it. You see the outcome. You see the pretty golf swing. You see Peter at 70 swinging beautifully. You know, you see those things are what you see, but you don't know what's driving that from under the hood. In this webinar, the intent of that, through these exercises, learning how to get your hands on properly and move the club in a manner that will make your body, or your body actually facilitates beautifully when you have the right intent.
Correct. So if I got one of these alignment rods on the ground. So when I throw correctly with the hands not only cause the right elbow to come in, they make the right shoulder come on that correct downswing path. So to just actually practice that as a drill, to get your right shoulder from the top of your backswing, just to get a little bit down. And then you see when it does, some magic happens from the left side. So if you look at it from this angle, when I go down with the right shoulder, my left hip goes back and the left leg straightens as a result of the shoulder. And so just getting a little bit comfortable with doing that, and then taking the club up, or now in this case, I've got my clicker, and then throwing. I'm going to move that just a bit. The ball's there. So I throw the end of this, the equivalent of the club head, at the ball. I don't have to worry about the shoulder. The throw causes the shoulder to go down in the right direction. But if you've got a bad habit of doing over the top, a little drill like that can unlock your body a bit to respond better to your correct hand action.
No, and I think what you've really helped with me, my coaching, my golf school, the Tour Sugar Golf Academy, and the thousands of people I've coached, is people want to feel like athletes. They want to play golf with very few conscious thoughts. They want to aim the face. They want to have an idea of start line. Then they want to athletically squish the golf ball. So it feels nice and it starts off like a rocket at the target. There shouldn't be a great deal of a huge checklist of things to do. And when you give your hands the responsibility to behave properly, you train it in a little bit of practice, and Peter's got a great program for you to spend time on the range to do that, then you can go to the golf course and be pretty clear-minded and say, okay, what's my target? What's my distance? Here's my athletic event. This can get the club, the face on the ball beautifully, and my results are rather pleasing.
Correct. It's basically any thinking, really, any real thinking should occur when you're doing the drills, because the drills will build the skills.
Love it.
And we've got a coach's drills mastery program just about to start this coming week for all those that would like to join. And that's where we really make sure you can do the drills correctly, because doing them correctly gets the good result. Not doing them doesn't get a result, but certainly doing them not the right way won't help either. So the drills will build the skills. And I think the simplicity is when you get to the golf course, you don't want to be thinking about your drill. You don't want to be thinking about, all you want to be thinking about is there's the golf ball. Have your routine that'll let you line up to where you want to go. Know where your target is, and then your major purpose now is to hit the golf ball. That's your target. And when you swing with that aggression down there, it's amazing, and I'm surprised myself that just how easy it is to finish in that balanced position so you can see the ball finish where it goes down the
You know,
middle.
so Peter, here's the thing. You know how many people tell me they can't get through a golf ball? Martin, I can't get through it. You know, and I always joke with them. I say, well, you're not prepared leading to it. You know, obviously, when you watch Peter at 70 swing beautifully, hit it solid, and trust me, I've played with him. He hits it really, really nicely. And where he's looking, you know, when you send the mass of the golf club and you start it properly with intent from the ball, you can't help but get pulled along beautifully to a finish. It's impossible not to get through it. So, you know, for those of you that feel like you're hanging back, you don't know how to, quote, get through a golf ball, unfortunately, the problem is before that. You don't know how to put your will into the mass of the club to send it in a direction that will get you to that beautiful finish you desire, for the correct swing bottom to touch the ball, brush the grass, rotate into a finish where your friends go, man, you're swinging it really, really nicely.
Exactly. Look, definitely the direction of the downswing produces the end result. If your downswing is out of path, you'll naturally, first of all, you get cramped up. The second thing is you won't be free. You won't have the freedom because you know you're not going to hit it straight. So
totally.
Exactly.
Chris, any questions from the audience that we want to touch on before we kind of show people where they can learn more?
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I've got a little bit of background noise here at the golf driving range, but that's good. From Ken, we've got, with the driver going down A to B, going more across court, do you recommend going more cross court for all clubs or more just direct A to B to the back of the ball? You know, is it more with the driver or is it less, or what is it, Pete?
Can I answer this one for the moment, Martin?
Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah. Well, the driver's a lot longer, you see. Now, with a driver, I'm going to be standing this far away from the golf ball. I've got a 7-iron here. So now my 7-iron's here. Now, the 7-iron swing, when I swing it back to the top of the backswing, let me get there, will be about there. Now, with the driver, when I swing it to the top of the backswing, it'll be more over here. So the A to B line from the club head with a driver is a lot more across court than it is with a 7-iron. So the direction of the throw with the shorter club, the shorter length shaft, is a little more steep, as you'd say, but it's still going down and out towards the ball. The driver, a couple of things. Number one, it's longer, so it's going to be swinging from more inside out or feeling like that. What happens is the body turn won't let it go this way. So while you do it slowly without the body, as you add the body turn brings it perfectly down on that inclined wheel. But as you swing down and out with the driver, the ball's on a tee, so you're going to be hitting it, it's on the front foot. So you hit the bottom of the swing will be slightly behind the ball, and you'll be hitting the ball level or on the upswing if you want to get maximum distance. But the direction of throw with the driver is definitely a lot more across court. Initially, when you run out of right arm, and the body turn is not going to let you keep going out there. The body turn and the release of the club face through your forearms will bring you around, and you'll finish up equally around on this side. So that wheel, it stays on the wheel. It doesn't kind of shoot off in another direction. I know some people got confused. They think A to B is continuing out there. It's not. The B is the ball. We like to say to be or not to be. It's A to B.
Excellent. I love it. What else you got, Chris? What other questions?
Got one from Stanton. If the intent is to throw the club head at the ball, does that mean that one must have some sense of where the club head is at the top of the backswing, or will throwing your hands at the ball get the same result?
So let me, I'll jump in on this one. Again, I'm a big fan of establishing the weight of the club in your hands. So when you set up the ball correctly, you'll notice this behavior right here. This is called a waggle. So that motion right there, that's me feeling the weight of the club right now. So to stand, I know where the weight of this club is in my hands right now. When I create my back swing, I can feel the weight of the club in my hands. I can feel it resting on the base knuckle of my trail index finger. I can feel it in the last 3 fingers of my lead hand. And then from here, when I've got that sense of the weight in nicely relaxed in that hinge right there, it's everything I can do, and I'm trying to smash one, to go ahead and send this on the A to B line right to the golf ball. Now, when I send it on the A to B line, things respond. Pelvis is open up, weight transfer happens. A lot of things athletically work in your favor rather than you feeling you have to check a million boxes. So the weight of the club, this sensation of that, agree. You've got to know where the weight of the club is. It's a huge deal. And you're going to start by doing that properly by waggling, getting the club nicely in your hands at address, feeling where it is. Your brain's going to tell you you've got this club in your hands, that you know what it weighs because you've got it in your hands. If you set it on the ground and you do this re-gripping business that I see a ton of people do, you don't really have the weight in your hands, and you're not going to know where it is when you swing it. So Stan, excellent question. So Peter, I'm going to have to wrap this up pretty soon, my friend. So why don't we take one more question for Peter and then show them how they can learn more?
Thanks, Martin. That was a great answer there, by the way. And
Stanton's
one of our students.
I've got a question directed at Martin, actually. Question is, during the downswing, am I waiting for the club to return down the path and then guiding, forcing it through? What is the proper feel and timing? Many thanks. From Philip.
Philip, so, reducing things to simplicity. There's complexity that we have to welcome, and most of the complexity is things that we're going to do just learning how to set up properly. And then by following along in drills away from the golf course on the practice range, that's when your brain can dig into complexity. But honestly, like when you watch this event, okay, and I say event, swinging event, and you see this waggle and this readiness in my body, you'll go, well, Martin, you've played golf a long time. I know I have. I've trained in some behaviors, but that motion is me. I know you see a golfer finished here in balance, and that's a nice shot on my target line, but really there's a weight at the club that I am throwing, and believe me, a swing is 1 to 1.2 seconds long. And in that time frame, 0.8 of it, 0.75 of it is the sling that creates the powerful backswing. So there's really no time other than to use the, how you're going to will the weight of this thing onto the golf ball. You can't even check a bunch of boxes in a downswing. You really can't. You have to have intent to go A to B to the ball. And then after that, watch for the credits. And hopefully in the credits, it says there was a successful show on the balls on target, because you really got to give up a bit of control to gain control at that point.
Very well said, Martin. It's all about just to enjoy the hit.
Yes.
Welcome the idea of crushing that ball, of compressing it, and you will compress it better when you're going down on the ball. So you're really hitting. If the ball's there, I want to make my whole intention, our intention is to smash that ball into the ground and trust that I've got good grip and good setup that'll allow the club face to be square and send the ball off on its target line. Agreed.
So Peter, how does everybody learn more about this awesome stuff I learned years ago?
Just got one more quick question from Brian Ferguson, a fantastic golf coach in Melbourne. I'm really enjoying the seminar. My early days as a golfer was always taught me to drive my legs down to start the downswing. A to B has helped me immensely, but my pattern is so ingrained, legs are still too active. Any ideas? Regards, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, I'll jump in real quick on this. So Brian, sometimes when somebody, gets too, they'll develop their backswing and they're trying to do a little too much, maybe laterally with the legs. Typically, I'm going to see lateral behaviors. I'll tell you what really helps a lot of folks is I'll get them on a towel, get them on their knees, get a driver in their hands, tee up a few golf balls with them. I oftentimes just give them an old demo driver, because when you're down here and you're learning how to go A to B, this sensation of really getting this club on the back of the golf ball is a fantastic one, because you've got to let your body understand that there's no question that the legs are going to help transport some amazing motion from the upper body rather than lateral, getting stuck underneath too much. Usually that's when we have nowhere to go and we can hit the block or the hook. So we've got to have that sense of throw and let this be the foundation for that throw. And I'll tell you, when you look at somebody who's got a really efficient swing, you'll see all those good looking positions of the pelvis open, the weight pressure getting to the lead side, but we've got to balance it properly. And I rarely see, when somebody's got a good grip and a nice setup, I dare them to hit it A to B any harder than they possibly can, because all you can do is hit it better. So don't try to be glidey with the legs. Get after it. Let the lower body support you. It looks great. You'll be reliable, and that would be my parting shot for you.
Yeah, I just add a little bit to that, Martin, if I can here. What I do know is that if you come along with the belief that you've got to transfer your weight and drive your legs from back foot to front foot, you'll always have an unnecessary leg action, and it'll be putting stress on your knees, your back, and everything. When you swing down and you're throwing A to B, you're turning in a barrel, so you're not swaying. You're not over on your right side or your left side. The weight will naturally be here because there's more of the club and you on this side. But as you throw down, the worst thing you can do is try to transfer your weight. If you throw the club head away from that right foot, what happens is, as it gets to the bottom of the swing, it naturally quickly gets over to your left side when it's supposed to, not too soon. So I know, Brian, you and I will grew up the same thing of trying to transfer our weight to get power. Well, weight transfer is an effect of the better you throw. The better you throw away from your right foot, all of a sudden you're on your left foot as well. So don't buy into the idea of having to be on your front foot too soon. Throw away from your back foot, and then you'll feel also the ground forces. You'll start, the harder you throw, the more your reaction of your feet, you'll see these measurements come up underneath your feet. It's so simple when you just get that simplicity of throw A to B.
Love it. Love it. Gentlemen, where can they learn more?
Well, basically every week, for America, it'll be on a Tuesday night at 8 p.m. New York time, that is, 5 p.m. in Phoenix or LA, every Tuesday night, and every Monday night at 8 p.m. on the Australian time zone, which maybe equals to about 10 a.m. or in Europe on a Monday. But every week we're going to go through one of our drills step by step, and between us, the coaches, and we're going to share it with other coaches and amateurs, because I think every golfer needs to be a coach. You have to coach yourself. So this program's open to every golfer that wants to become a better golfer. The better you learn the drills, if you get drills mastery, then you'll be able to take it to the golf course and play golf naturally out of your mind. And then you'll be able to play golf rather than golf technique. And I think that's the whole idea of A to B. It frees you up from a lot of unnecessary thinking, but behind it, these drills will make your skills so much better and take a lot less strain on your body and your brain. So, and on top of that, I'm looking forward to coming over and doing being in some of Martin's schools when he does, because he delivers a lot of great stuff. And you're starting up your schools this coming week, aren't you?
We sure are. We're starting our 10th year at the Raven, and gratefully the schools are getting booked up quite nicely. So really happy about that. And but to the viewers out there, you know, Peter's top notch, and he's got a very step-by-step system to help you guys and gals out there learn a lot. So if you're really inclined to really improve, you'll do well to see Peter. He taught me years ago. I'm still a huge fan of his coaching style and the way he coaches people. And on that note, you know how to find me at tourstriker.com, tourstriker.com right there. And if I can help you, reach out. And Peter and Chris, thanks so much for a great webinar, and I look forward to seeing you guys in November.
Thanks, Master.
See you guys.
See you on the leaderboard.
Yes. Impact zone, follow through, and finish. I'm doing another webinar with my good buddy Peter Croker, November 24th at 5 p.m. Pacific time. I'm not sure when that is in the rest of the world, but there's limited space, so be sure to sign up, and we look forward to seeing you online.